In celebration of the new demo that came out, I think it'd be interesting to take a look back at one of the most well-known FNAF fan games, the Joy of Creation Story Mode, which is a game that I still enjoy playing to this day. This is one of those games that we replay time and time again, just for the fun of it. Since I'm one of those people that's replayed this game God knows how many times, I think it would be a neat refresher to look back at each level and rank them from good to best. Of course, this is just my opinion, and whatever opinions you may have, you're entitled to. Also, like I said, this list is a good to best, not a worst to best. I really like all 5 levels, and think they're spectacular in their own regard. I just like some a little more than others. That being said, let's get started. The basement is unique in that it's the only level where your character isn't confined to a single area. Instead of focusing purely on survival, the basement involves a puzzle-based form of progression in which the only way to move forward is by completing certain tasks or objectives. However, the entire time, you're being stalked by the ignited endos known as the Fallen. Part of what I really like about the basement is that it's an extremely strong introduction to the Fallen. I remember back in 2017 when this game came out, and people on their first time playing this level were all like,
"Hello? Who are you? Oh!"
This level has quite a few great moments. The first endo appearance, the second puzzle with the "you are not safe, go back," the 4th stage where you're walking down that long dark hallway, and especially the final stage where you have to maneuver through a bunch of endos to reach a button and a stairway on the other side of a large room. It's honestly one of the most tense moments in the entire game. Also, if you're afraid of weeping angel mechanics in games, then this level will be your kryptonite. Overall, the basement definitely succeeds at what it tries to do. It has its charm for sure, and honestly, I'd say Nixon could have made an entirely separate game out of this level alone. Now, I bet you're wondering, I've spoken pretty highly of this level so far. Why is it at the bottom? You're probably thinking that I'm about to start rambling about some major flaw or gripe that I have with the basement, but no, you'd be wrong. The reason I have it at the bottom is because out of the 5 levels, the basement just feels the least replayable to me. Because of the more linear form of progression, you know what to expect and exactly how to get through it. There's no RNG involved. Everything is the exact same every time. That's not to say the level isn't fun to replay at all. That's just to say that when you beat it once, you've pretty much milked it for all it's worth. Still, fantastic level. The bedroom is an absolutely terrifying level. If Nixon was going for FNAF 4 vibes with this one, safe to say he nailed it and then some. This level is super duper fun, not only because of the mechanics, but also the atmosphere. If I could describe it in any way, this is what would happen if FNAF, Among the Sleep, and Boogeyman were combined into one game. The concept of the bedroom level is so unhinged and disturbing, and that premise becomes so much clearer when you put yourself in the shoes of Nick. From the viewpoint of an infant child, it's no wonder there's a sanity mechanic. Even the crib seems specifically designed to make you feel claustrophobic, trapped, and small. Too poetic? Maybe, but it's still true. I absolutely love how the mechanics for each character force you to do something that makes you feel like a sitting duck. The mechanics themselves are pretty fun as well, and I think it's neat just how truly unforgiving this level can be. Most go in with a false sense of security, thinking that the game will go easy on them for the first level, only for their confidence to be shattered when the animatronics go in full swing. It's a very well-constructed stage of the game, and I think Nixon made the right call making this the first level, just to give a taste of what the player's in for. Also, just a side note, if you want to make this level all the more unnerving, play it while you have Silent Hill ambiance in the background. Seriously, it fits so well. Overall, the atmosphere is spot on, the mechanics are well balanced, and it's a truly scary experience. Outstanding job, Nixon. Following the bedroom in the story, up next is the living room. I feel like this stage is underappreciated and overlooked by most people, and I suppose I don't really blame them. At first, this level just felt a little filler to me, but over time, it's grown on me a lot. I'll start by saying that the mechanics in this level are extremely neat. Using a pause button to freeze animatronics from their own POV is an interesting take for a FNAF game. I'd say the living room is one of the most difficult of the 5 stages in the game because of how it challenges the player to be proactive instead of reactive, and it takes a pretty good internal clock to know your way around this level. Whenever I play this level, I find myself constantly having to think way ahead, paying attention to and approximating the arrival of each enemy. As soon as Bonnie makes that first moan, I have to immediately think about several variables, such as when I think he'll arrive in relation to Freddy and Foxy, how I want Freddy and Foxy to arrive in relation to him, how I can make each of them arrive at the desired moment, gauging the amount of risk involved in what I need to do to make them arrive at the desired moment, and how wide or narrow the window of time might be. Yeah, that's a lot to think about in just a few short seconds, isn't it? As you can imagine, it's extremely satisfying when you get things to happen exactly how you predict, especially when you end up having to cut it really close and somehow get away with it. The challenge of this level, along with its mechanics and gameplay loop, make it a whole lot of fun to play, and it definitely gets you on the edge of your seat. In the world of gaming, we all love ourselves a good final boss, and for a game like The Joy of Creation, the Attic delivers. I absolutely love this stage, and I can't wait to see what this is going to look like in the new game. Similar to the bedroom, the Attic's charm comes from its atmosphere. However, instead of an unnerving, creepy type of atmosphere, the Attic can be described as having more looming tension, stress, and chaos. There's no gradual buildup of suspense. When you play the Attic, you're thrown right into the thick of it, with Creation and Golden Freddy active and already after you. Then the Fallen show up about a minute later, and the experience becomes all the more anxiety-inducing. Oh yeah, and all the while, there's a fire spreading throughout the house. You know, just to make it that much more climactic. Although, the atmosphere isn't the only thing I praise about this level. I'd remiss not to mention how much I adore this room's mechanics. Not because they're anything creative or unique, but rather because of how simple, yet challenging they are. If I could compare this room to anything, it would be like FNAF 2. There's a lot going on, and you have to be good at micromanaging. There's also conflicting elements of patience and urgency. Time is not on your side in this level. With no 6 AM around the bend, the only way to win is by defeating Golden Freddy by flashing him 12 times on the cameras. Speaking of which, this is the first level on the list that I actually have some tiny complaints about. First, I do feel like it's slightly cheap that Golden Freddy can just disappear the single nanosecond before you flash him, but I can understand why Nixon made it that way, and most of the time this can be avoided by just not staring at him for too long. Second, and this is literally just a minuscule, personal little nitpick, I kinda wish Creation didn't speed up the closer you get to beating the level. And yes, if you didn't know, he does get faster. How did I find this out? Well, I wanted to challenge myself to see if I could beat the Attic without Creation getting past or even damaging the first barrier. Long story short, it's impossible. You can only get about 5 flashes on Golden Freddy before Creation starts moving through rooms faster than your lever can recharge twice. Though, other than that, I can't really hold a personal nitpick against the stage as a whole. It's nothing more than a small criticism which I won't penalize anything for. I still love this level full and through, and in my mind, the Attic is undoubtedly one of the coolest, most memorable final boss nights in the universe of FNAF fan games. By the way, did I mention how funny it is when the running endos hit the door? By process of elimination, I'm sure all of you knew which stage was going to take the crown. I present to you The Office. I'd go as far as to say that this stage alone is part of what made the Joy of Creation story mode so iconic in the first place. The new demo of this level looks extremely promising, and the original is just as awesome. This level has pretty much every positive feature I've talked about with the other stages. There's a thrilling atmosphere, tension, neat mechanics, and a simple, yet difficult learning curve for new players. I also really like how this stage kind of serves as being a sort of final showdown with the ignited animatronics. Also, akin to the attic, time is not on your side in the office. The night may not be endless, there's still a 6 AM, but you can't win unless you shine your light at Freddy 11 times before the night ends. Something else I find really unique about this level is Chica's mechanic. She's one of the most dangerous enemies you face in the office, and she throws a massive wrench into the gameplay loop. Nixon definitely did her justice in this game, and it's cool to see her be such a prominent and terrifying threat. Might I mention that Rye Guy did an outstanding job with his voice acting in this stage's quote-unquote phone calls, and really just throughout the game in general. I feel like The Office is a strong highlight on the in-game character of Scott Cawthon. I know I'm getting all cryptic again by saying this, but the premise of this stage, and this part of the story, is very poetic, with Scott being forced to confront the very things he's created. The opening cutscene of this level, where Scott is faced with Freddy for the first time, is without question my favorite cutscene in the whole game, and I still get goosebumps every time I see it. Really, The Office is probably the first level that I think of when I hear The Joy of Creation. The huge impression it's left on me solidifies its place at the top of this list. Ladies and gentlemen, I declare The Office as wearing the crown for the best stage in the Joy of Creation story mode. And with that, this ranking video finally concludes. Did you agree with my list? What do you think the best stage is in the Joy of Creation story mode? Which levels would you rank differently? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Remember to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed, and if you're interested in more content, click that subscribe button. Every sub helps out the channel, and I greatly appreciate your guys' support. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next time.